Fall is now well underway in many parts in the Northern Hemisphere, and with it comes a beautiful changing landscape and multicolored falling leaves that make a satisfying crunch when walked on. With it also comes a variety of seasonal fruits and vegetables that can add new flavors and colors to meals. So today, on this podcast, I want to explore with you one fall or winter favorite, acorn squash. Not sure what it is or even whether you'll like it? Then definitely listen in. In this episode, I'll show you how nutrient-packed acorn squash is and some easy, simple ways you can use them to make tasty plant-based meals. Want more meal ideas? Then let's dive into this together. I'll meet you on the inside. Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Anna Zinn, plant-based registered dietitian and transition coach. Hi friend, do you want to regain your health with plant-based eating but feel overwhelmed and lost about how to do it? Do you feel it'll be hard to change your meat-heavy diet and impossible with working, running the home, or chasing after the grandkids? If so, you're in the right place. Here you'll find simple strategies, clear nutrition guidance, and practical tips to help you thrive plant-powered with more energy. So if you're ready to ditch the guesswork and transform your health the stress-free way, cozy up now with a hot cup of tea or listen while you walk, and let me show you how doable plant-based eating can be. Let's do this. I want to take a moment first to spotlight and thank a listener, Kim Stewart, for her 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. She wrote, "Improving my health without missing out. Yay, so happy that Anna started this podcast. I'm looking forward to learning how I can enjoy plant-based eating to improve my health in this season of life to feel better and not feel like I'm missing out." Thank you so much for this feedback, Kim. Yes, eating plant-based doesn't mean you'll have to give up all delicious food and resign yourself to eating platefuls of raw celery and carrots. There's much more to plant-based eating than that. I'm glad that your goal is to improve your health, and I hope this podcast will really help you in your journey towards the best health and wellness. Keep listening in, Kim. Friend, would you like to support this podcast so it can reach and help more people like Kim? If so, all you need to do is to take a quick moment to leave a rating and written review on Apple Podcasts. If you have an Apple device, find the Apple Podcasts app icon. It's a purple square with white circles. Open it, then search for Plant-Based Eating Made Easy. Then, once there, scroll all the way down past the 5-star symbols, then click on Write a Review. Leave a star rating, write your review, and then tap Send. You can also leave a review if you have iTunes downloaded on your PC computer. I would love to hear how this podcast is making a difference in your life. And you may get your review spotlighted on an episode too, like this one. So take a moment now to pause this episode and leave a review, then listen on. Also, remember to click the plus follow button on the Apple Podcast page while you're at it, so you won't miss any new future episodes published. Now let's get into today's topic. Have you seen or had acorn squash before? These squashes look like huge acorns with their round, plump, globular shapes and even grooved ridges. They're often sold in bins at the grocery store with a dark green appearance, though they may appear in other colors, such as orange and white. If you're new to the plant-based world, chances are you may not have had a chance yet to cook with this lesser-known squash in your kitchen or know much about it. It may even be one of those squashes that you have pushed your shopping cart by at the store and never even considered buying. That's why I want to spotlight acorn squash in today's episode. They are a hidden gem in the squash world, and many people don't know just how nutritious they are, much less how to eat them. So if you're curious to find out more about this fall plant-based ingredient, keep listening. Here's a first surprising fact. Acorn squash, though commonly grouped into the winter squash category, are actually quite different. That's because, botanically, they fall into the same family as summer squashes like zucchini and crookneck squash. In North America, acorn squash tends to be harvested in September and October before the first frost. Another thing you may not know about acorn squash is this: they are super nutritious. Are you more familiar with using butternut squash and spaghetti squash in your meals rather than acorn squash? Well, get ready to be surprised. That's because when compared alongside butternut squash and spaghetti squash, the same serving amount of acorn squash gives you more protein, more fiber, calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, thiamine, vitamin B6, and folate than these two other squashes. Just 1 cup of roasted acorn squash cubes, about 205 grams in weight, provides you with over 2 grams of protein, 9 grams of fiber, 90 milligrams of calcium, 1.9 milligrams of iron, 88 milligrams of magnesium, and 896 milligrams of potassium. Now let's get into some simple, easy, yet tasty ways to enjoy acorn squash. The simplest way to enjoy acorn squash is to roast it. While this does take a little more time, it's an easy, hands-off method to cook your acorn squash. To make plain roasted acorn squash, preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 204 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, as the oven is heating up, cut a washed acorn squash in half and use a spoon to scoop out the seeds and stringy portion in the center. Then, place the squash halves, cut side up, on a parchment-lined baking sheet or pan. You'll then want to bake these acorn squash halves until the flesh can be easily pierced through by a fork. This would take about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the size of your squash. Finally, add any desired toppings and serve warm. Note that you can also slice up the acorn squash into wedges before roasting. If you do so, that will cut down on the baking time, as more surface area of the acorn squash is exposed to be roasted at once. Acorn squash already has a mild sweet taste, but if you would like a slightly sweeter overtone, you can brush a light coating of maple syrup or date syrup on the acorn squash flesh before roasting the squash halves. Alternatively, you can do what I did. Once, I stuffed the center hollow of the acorn squash halves with a delicious citrusy fruity mixture using cinnamon, nutmeg, and diced apples and oranges before roasting. It turned out wonderfully. If you prefer savory, try stuffing the acorn halves with a mixture of a cooked whole grain along with some sautéed vegetables and beans. You can even add on a garnish of chopped nuts like pecans or walnuts on top before serving. But acorn squashes don't need to always be roasted. Instead, you can microwave, steam, braise, sauté, or grill them too. I have cooked and pureed acorn squash into smooth soups, used them in the chili, and even turned some into a creamy pasta sauce. Some spices that work well with acorn squash include garlic powder, sage, nutmeg, and cinnamon. So today we looked at some surprising facts about acorn squash, what's in them, and simple, tasty ways to enjoy them. I hope this ingredient spotlight has opened your eyes to the variety of ways acorn squash can be used and enjoyed in the plant-based kitchen. Now here's an action step you can take. The next time you spot a display of acorn squashes at your local grocery store, be adventurous and pick one up to bring home and try. You can choose to roast it on its own to enjoy as a side dish, or stuff it with a sweet or savory mixture to form a more complete meal. Or turn it into a pasta sauce, soup, or chili ingredient. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to learn more about the plant-based world and to build your confidence and knowledge in plant-based diet basics and key ingredients, check out the online Plant Power Life Transformation course. This one-stop 6-module online course gives you produce stretching and money-saving hacks, teaches you essential skills, and tasty, simple-to-make whole food plant-based recipes to help you enjoy plant-based eating and save money, time, and energy while doing it. Find out more details at plantnourish.com/PBLT course or see the link in the show notes. Thank you for listening to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. If this podcast has helped you, please rate and leave a written review on the Apple Podcast app or iTunes to let me know. Nothing will lift me up more than to read your review and see how this podcast has made a difference in your life. I also pick reviews to read on this show, so your review could be one of them. Come connect with me in my free Facebook community group, Beginners for Plant-Based Diet Success. Just go to bit.ly/PB Diet Success. That's bit.ly/PB Diet Success. You can also subscribe and follow this podcast to get notified when a new episode goes live. Signing off now, this is Anna, and I wish you the best health always.